The only reason you have this social anxiety is because the brain has a message. It's not safe to be as social as I want to be. I'm not supposed to be as social as I want to be. I promise you, it has to work. You have to get better. You have to. It's how the body and the brain works. Good morning. It might not be morning for you, but it is for me. So if the eyes seem half open, that's why. Have my coffee. You may hear the birds chirping. You're welcome. Welcome. My name is Naomi Dunn. I am an inner work coach, and this is Disrupt Your Norm, where I help you disrupt your current norm to help bring you to a better. Today I'm going to talk about social anxiety, and it's going to actually relate to my previous video. If you haven't seen it already, it's about how to have instantaneous confidence. It's going to relate to that video, so it's kind of like a mini series on showing up in the world in a way that you want to when it comes to your demeanor, when it comes to your communication, when it comes to your confidence. I have seen so many cases of people overcoming their social anxiety with what I'm going to talk about today. Okay? Take it very literal. Okay, so my story. I was very, very shy as a child, okay? I was that typical child that would hide behind their parents' legs when somebody would talk to them. I didn't want to look people in the eyes. I didn't want to talk to people. I was very shy, okay? Very, very, very shy. Now, there was one year in my life where it was like a transitional period when I was 15 years old, and I moved country, and I didn't want to. And for some reason, this really spiked. I would say, minor social anxiety. This really spiked it for me. Maybe it's similar for you. Maybe you felt out of control as a child. Maybe you were in some circumstances as a child that made your body reject speaking to other people, that made your body feel as though you're not safe speaking to other people. And that's what it was for me. I just felt very dysregulated in my nervous system, and because of that, I found myself severely anxious having conversations, even with family members. I couldn't believe my body's responses to conversations. I remember having a conversation where I was actually beginning to stutter, and this was an unconscious thing. I was just talking, and then I began stuttering, and then it was happening more often. And I was like, why is this happening to me? But I'm looking back now and I can see the dysregulation in my nervous system that I was experiencing. So of course, my body was rejecting these conversations. It was fearful already, and the conversations were adding to the fear. Okay, so back to what is the biggest component for social anxiety? The biggest component to heal that is what's called rejection therapy. Now, if you don't know what rejection therapy is, let me briefly go over it. I'm sure that a lot of you already do already, especially if you have seen those videos maybe on TikTok of people doing these crazy things in public to heal their social anxiety, or even just become the most fearless version of themselves. Now, rejection therapy is when we do things that our body feels as though will make us feel rejected by society, by family, by friends, by doing the thing that scares you. And when we do it, it sends a signal to the brain, to the body, that it's safe to. Even if we do get a funny look, even if we do get a comment from somebody else, the body and the brain still get this idea that, okay, we're safe, we can do it again. Okay? And we start in increments, we start small, we start by doing little things each and every day, or as often as we physically can. We do the things that scare us, we do the thing that may cause rejection, and we continuously send the signal over and over and over to the body and to the brain that we are safe and we survived. Why does this work? The reason this works is because of neuroplasticity, where the neurons in the brain actually change as we continuously do something in life, and they start to shapeshift. They start to alter based on what you're doing and the signal, the message that it's receiving. So if we are continuously doing things that we're afraid of socially, if we continue to have those conversations, if we continue to show up in the way that we are very uncomfortable showing up as, the more we do it, the easier it gets, because the neurons are getting the message in the brain, it's safe, okay? Now, what do you do if you have panic attacks when you have these conversations, when it is crippling, you can't leave your bedroom? Obviously, we're going to start very small. We're going to start so small. We're going to start with the thing that we know isn't going to set us off. And as you do the things that don't set you off, maybe it's having a conversation on the internet. Maybe it's posting a video. Maybe it's asking an additional question to the lady at the grocery store as she's bagging up your groceries. How was your day? What are you going to do after your shift today? Maybe it's saying good morning to the person walking past you on the walk when normally you look down, you look on your phone, and you don't make any eye contact. Maybe it's just holding eye contact a little bit more intentionally during any conversation you have. That's how small it can be. And I know for some people they think of rejection therapy and they see these videos of people doing the most absurd things, like lying on the ground in the middle of a path. I mean, just lying there and watching people doing things that most people don't do, that seem really abnormal, but they do the extreme to heal to the extreme, to get to the extreme, to become even more fearless. You don't have to do that. Now, when you create momentum with this, I promise you, it has to work. You have to get better. You have to. It's how the body and the brain works. When we continuously intentionally do this as often as I can, I mean at least once a day, I need you to do the thing that scares you, to do the thing that makes your body feel rejected. At least once a day when you do that, you have to get better. It's how it works. Because the only reason you have this social anxiety is because the brain has a message. It has a message that needs to be rewired. That's the only reason. Of course, I know it's your trauma, it's things that happened in the past, maybe you were born this way, but regardless of the reason that you think you have it, at the end of the day, the baseline root of it all is that the brain has a message, and the message is it's not safe to be as social as I want to be. I'm not supposed to be as social as I want to be. Other people don't expect me to be as social as I want to be. It doesn't matter what the brain is saying. All that matters is that if you do this, you are continuously throwing back another message. You're countering it, and you're countering it, and you're countering it. You're throwing back a message that is the opposite of the current message that it has. And as you do this over time, it has to get the message. Your brain has to get the message. Your brain has to realize what you're telling it. You're telling it every time you do the thing that scares you, every time you do the thing that makes you feel rejected. You're telling it it's safe to, and I'm social now. I'm becoming social now. I'm becoming better at my communication. I am becoming more confident. This is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am. The more you do it over and over and over, and momentum, snowball effect, it starts small. You do the tiny thing. You still feel really anxious as you do it, but then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do another thing, and you do something else that's a little bit more scary, but this time it's not as scary because you've done those other three things, and you go, snowball. The snowball becomes a giant snowball, and that giant snowball is your confidence. It is your lack of social anxiety. Now, am I here to say that you will never feel nervous in conversations? No, not necessarily. You may get to the point where you don't even feel an ounce of nervousness. Okay, but there may be times, of course, because you are a human, okay, where we have to do things that make us feel nervous, that make us feel a little bit anxious, but it will not be to the extent that you were at before. And of course, like I said, we're not doing the thing that's setting us off into a panic attack. We're starting small. We're starting with what we're capable of, but feels really uncomfortable. The entire point of this whole thing is you have to be in the discomfort, and then it will become more comfortable. But like I said, we all get nervous at times. We all get a little anxious at times when it comes to social things. And as we fake it more and more, and as we repeatedly do this work to face what we're afraid, to be in the uncomfortable, you get better, it gets easier, and the nervous feeling that you get, suddenly you feel it, you have it, but it's not a big deal. And at the end of the day, if you still feel nervous later on doing social interactions, that's okay too. Nervousness is a feeling that goes away. I need us to remember that nervousness is a feeling that goes away. It doesn't have to be made into a big deal. We don't have to amplify the feeling. We don't have to analyze it and say, okay, I was nervous, so therefore I still have this social anxiety. It's not going away. No, life will come with things where we have social interactions that make us nervous, and that's okay. It helps us grow. We can do things with annoying sensations anyways, and you're going to learn this as you practice rejection therapy each and every day, as often as you can. I mean this. If you have social anxiety, you have to do this as often as you can. Okay, that's all I have to say. Watch my previous video on having instant confidence, and my upcoming video, if I haven't posted already, I'm going to talk about how to have lasting confidence. I don't know if I've posted both already or if I've just posted one, but it's a mini series I'm doing. It's really going to help you. I promise.